Hey guys, Jeremy here, my way MFG. Just gonna post a short video, like an update. Is this update about the Model T? Is it about the garage? Is it about Eliza? Well, it involves Eliza and the Model T. How could that be, you're thinking? I had something happen in a million years I wouldn't think could have happened. But here's what happened. I've been searching, I don't know if you can hear a word I'm saying. I got a major bird problem this year. They're everywhere. I've been looking high and low for a straight axle for this because I'm thinking about just putting like a 20-horse engine of some kind on it and getting it to where I can drive it around town here, you know. But even if I don't, I still want it to steer, because even if it's just a yard ornament, steering's good, you know. So high and low, I've been looking for a straight axle, something I could hook steering up to. I got a trailer axle under here right now. It was going to be hard to modify and still keep it strong, you know. I'd find them on Marketplace. They're usually pretty cheap, hundreds of miles away. I don't want to do that if I don't have to. Can I just find one locally, you know? So I get a tip the other day that there might be one up at the local scrapyard, 15 miles away. So I drive up there. The owner's there. I said, "Do you have a straight axle out of an old car? I don't care what it is, just any kind of straight axle out of the front of an old car." He says, "Yeah, go look over by the fence." So I walk over there. There's a whole car frame there. It's upside down. It's got a straight axle under it. It's got everything under it. It's got the steering box. It's got the wishbones, the leaf spring, all of that, you know. So I go up and I tell him, I'd like to have the spring, the tie rods, the wishbone mount, the steering box, all of that. He says, "Well, what I will do," cat. He said, "What I will do, I'll just cut the frame in half and you take the front half of the frame, $50. And I said, "Sold." $50, good price for all that, you know. So I'm driving home and my neurons get clicking in my head. And I'm thinking, all that stuff looked like Eliza. I think that's a 40 Ford frame. But here's the good part. All that stuff under there was new. It's like somebody had started building a hot rod and quit. The leaf spring is new, still has paint on it. Not somebody's painted, it has factory paint on it. The shackles are new, they're still shiny. The ball mount for the wishbones is new, so I'm assuming there's a new rubber ball under there. It had disc brake conversions on the front, missing the calipers. If I was ever going to use it, I'd have to find out what calipers go to those mounts, but I'm sure I could figure it out. That frame also had parallel leaf springs mocked up in the back with a 10-bolt GM rear end in it. So somebody had done a lot of work to it. And I'm assuming probably it has new or good tie rods on it. And I bet you they've replaced the kingpins and all that too. I didn't look at all of that. And at this moment, I'm not even sure it's a 40 Ford, but I'm almost 100% sure it is. Well, it puts me in a situation because all of that stuff that's on it is better shape than what's on Eliza. Eliza's all original stuff, and the car still drives good, but that stuff is obviously old and wore out. And one thing I knew for sure is Eliza needed shackle mounts. I could see the bushings were bad. This has new ones on it. So here's where I'm at with it. All of that stuff, if it turns out to be a 40 Ford, and I think it is, all of that stuff needs to go into Eliza. And then Eliza's straight axle needs to go back under here. I don't like taking cars apart in the summertime when I'm driving them, because right now I can get it and drive it even though it's wore out, needs work, it drives. But if I want to go any further with this, I need Eliza's axle under here if I'm putting the new one in Eliza. And I think that's where I'm at with it. I think I need to get that stuff home, make for certain it is a 40 Ford, and then I need to go over everything, figure out what else I need to just make everything new under Eliza. I think 80% of that stuff is there. I'm just going to need like for instance, that frame didn't have a sway bar on it, or an anti-roll bar, I should call it. Instead, it had a panhard bar. Well, I'd be putting my sway bar back on, so for instance, I would need to buy sway bar bushings, and then just get everything new under Eliza. I mean, it's killing two birds with one stone, right? I'm getting this to where it'll steer, and I'm replacing stuff under Eliza that needed replaced anyhow. What's the chances of that happening? Me looking for a straight axle for this out of anything, and finding all new stuff for a 40 Ford, which I happen to have a 40 Ford that needs all new stuff. The chances of that's got to be 1 in a million, 1 in 2 million, 1 in 3 million. I don't know. But you know what they say, 86.92% of all statistics are made up on the spot. But anyway, I'm waiting on a call from Jason. He's the guy that's got the scrapyard. Hopefully he calls me soon. I get that stuff home and we can assess the situation. See what we're going to do. I was going to try to get this running and driving by fall when the parades start, so I could take it to a parade or two. Oh, that might be pushing it. A lot of work to get that done. I still got to get spinny parts hooked to a power source of some kind. But at least I'd have it to where it would steer, you know? And Eliza would be much better. All for 50 bucks. I got the car axle home. All that talking I done earlier. I'm going to show you what I got here. After I got it home, it was kind of easy to see what I needed to do. It is 40 Ford. Well, I was wrong on some of the other stuff. It's laying upside down here on my trailer. That is a brand new 40 Ford leaf spring. I think somebody was mocking this up and it was never used. And those are brand new shackles. And I do think it has brand new kingpins in it. And it's got disc brake conversions. And it's got caliper mounts. I was right about all that stuff. They've removed the anti-roll bar, put on a panhard bar, but it's gotten broken off here. Probably while at the scrapyard. I wasn't going to use that anyway. It's got a modern style steering box there that I may or may not use on the Model T. But where I was really wrong is I thought it had a new ball bushing back here. It does not. There's the ball mount. Someone has split the wishbones and made a split wishbone mount here. And that's not something I need for Eliza. I do not want that. So I would not use these wishbones. But I was going to use the leaf spring and the shackles for Eliza. I'm still going to use the leaf spring because it's new and seems undamaged. But if you look at the shackles, they're all bent and out of alignment. It's like that on both sides. They're all messed up. I would not want to reuse those. I was trying to figure out what went wrong here, and I got to noticing, I thought maybe they had measured the wishbone wrong when they split it, and it threw that out of alignment, because if you look, that's not parallel with the leaf spring. So there's no way you could put that shackle mount on right. I thought maybe they had the links wrong up here when they cut them, and they put that plate on, and that plate has been bent up. But then I got to looking, and this wishbone on this side is bent. If I put a level on it at the end to there, can you see all that gap underneath? That one over there is straight. And I think what has happened, you can see it's bent. I think what has happened is this frame was in the scrapyard for a couple years. One of the guys that worked up there that was doing the torch work for me, he said when this frame come in, everything on it looked new. But after a couple years of being thrown around with a hi-ho with a clamp bucket, tossed around upside down and everything else, some of this stuff has got ruined. So I had thought if I could undo the ball mount, because I didn't remember it being a split wishbone, I was going to undo the ball mount, undo the leaf spring up to cross member, undo the sway bar and the brake hoses, and just put this whole assembly under Eliza. Well, now I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do, I'm going to save that leaf spring for Eliza because I think it's new, never used. And the reason I say I don't think they ever drove this, they had a bar mounted between here so they could steer it, probably just to move it around the shop. I think if this had ever been drove, it would have had actual tie rods on it. I think this was in the process of being mocked up and they gave up on it. Anyway, I'm going to save the leaf spring for Eliza. The shackles, I'm going to throw them away because they're tweaked. And it's too bad because they were new. This axle, it might have better kingpins in it than Eliza, but I'm not going to swap the axle out just because of kingpins. I can put kingpins back in Eliza and it would be just as good as this one. The rotors, the hubs, and the caliper mounts I will save and just keep in case I ever want to do a disc brake conversion on Eliza. I've got all that stuff at hand. That would probably be about a third of the total stuff I need to do it, you know. So that'd be a start, but we'll just throw that on a shelf somewhere. And Eliza needed a new leaf spring anyway, so we got that. And then we still got the axle for the Model T. We've still got a steering box we can use for the Model T. So all in all, that was still a good $50, you know. And I don't have to tear into Eliza right away now because I'll just use this axle for the Model T. So anyway, it's good to have a plan, right? It's good to have a plan. And when I was thinking I was going to be using this axle under Eliza and then taking Eliza's axle and putting her on the Model T, that was really going to slow me down on the Model T build. But now we can just move forward with the Model T build just like we were going to. And we've still got a few new parts for Eliza sitting on a shelf somewhere for later. So I like this better, actually. I do. And I think a new leaf spring for a 44 is like 160, 180 bucks. So I mean, 50 bucks for all of this? Yeah, I'm good with that. I wish the shackles hadn't got ruined because I needed them. But shackles are cheap. What are they? 60 bucks maybe. We'll get them later. But anyway, guys, that's where we're at with it. We'll get back on the T here real soon, now that we can figure out a way to steer it. I've been tearing the boards off this old floor up here. The whole time I've owned this place, it had this piece of carpet rolled out. And it's always felt soft up there. Like I probably shouldn't be walking there, you know? Well, I rolled the carpet back. I think I found the problem. Yeah. But anyway, this has all got to come out anyway. These boards right here, I can't really use for interior barn boards. They're shiplap, and they're not as thick as the ones I'm using. Not only that, they're in terrible condition. But I thought maybe I could cut enough good out of them. They are good in spots. And maybe use them to make the Model T doors out of. You know, they look rustic and, you know, I'm killing two birds with one stone, right? I'm getting this all tore out, plus maybe getting my doors built for the T. So let's see how it goes here. I've got two cut here. These doors are 49 inches high, I measured. It's hard to even find 49 inches of good material left in them boards. You know what I'm saying? But I got two, and actually two come out of two long boards. I'm getting ready to cut this next long board. I think I can get three, and I think three will do it. And then we'll just try to mock this up and see if we can get it to look like something, you know? get it. We're still on good board here. That's going to be enough to get it. You know, of course, it would have been easier to use nice new boards, but it's really not what I want. I don't want this thing to look new. I want it to look like it's been in continuous use on a farm since about 1917. And I think we're going to get there. Might notice that wheel. A friend of mine, Terry, that watches the channel, brought me that the other day. I need to find one more, but that's going to look good on there. Anyway, let me get back on this and see if I can get these 3 boards hooked together. Got a door on our Model T. Looks rustic. Looks like something maybe Henry Ford himself would have done back when he was 9 years old and just learning, you know. Am I saying Henry's smarter than me? Yeah, he's smarter than me. The time he was my age, he was one of the richest men in the country, maybe behind what, John D. Rockefeller? But the real reason that I know Henry's smarter than me is he had a stapler that go through 20 gauge sheet metal. I don't know anybody else that's ever had one. But anyway, we'll do the same thing to the other side. But the next video on this, we're probably going to jump away from the doors and try to get that axle mounted under there and maybe some steering hooked up. I don't know if we'll do all that in one video. Might take 2. But I think that's going to be the plan anyway. And I've also decided, I've changed my mind 3 times now. The more I look at that axle and that frame and those wishbones and stuff, I'm going to use all of it under the Model T. I only give $50 for it. Eliza doesn't really need a leaf spring, I don't think. What Eliza really needs is sway bar bushings and links, shackles and bushings, and shocks. I've checked everything else. It's not that bad. It'll last for a long time, no more than I drive. So, and I want that other transverse leaf spring under here. I was going to put that axle on these parallels, but it'd just be easier to roll that whole thing under here and hook it up. A few welds and I'd be done with it. But anyway, I'll get you a little closer and show you this, and I think that's going to do it for today. Just a quick video, I guess. Update, maybe. That's what our door ended up looking like. I had these metal strips that are on this. Those metal strips go between the boards in that old Sacrate room. And yeah, you know what? I'll put a couple on there. I just had them laying in the scrap pile. It kind of looks, I don't know, kind of looks the part, I guess. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with all that. And it's, I still got to get a latch on it. You know, in all them pictures I got, they got suicide doors on them. The hinges are back here. I wasn't thinking about that when I put the hinges here. I don't know if I'll change that or not. It'd be easy to do at the moment because I don't have a latch made up. And I think the reason they put the hinges back here is so they could open the door and chain it back to the box and drive around with the doors open, maybe. But I don't know if I would do that or not. I mean, here's my latch. But I found another half can of black paint, but I'm truly out of it now. Where's my hole? But anyway, that's what that looks like, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Looks pretty much like the ones in our pictures, I guess. I tried to keep the bottom of that window opening horizontal with the windshield bottom, you know, on the same plane. I think that'll look real good after we get the fenders on it. But anyway, that's gonna do it for today. I think I'm gonna pick up out here and probably mow my yard. I haven't mowed since it's been real hot, you know. Anyway, I just rolled that back, kind of got everything picked up here. You know, it's been twice now. I came out here and I've sat in this during 2 separate rainstorms. One of them was a pretty heavy storm, and I gotta say, water heater skins make good roofs for Model Ts. It doesn't leak at all in here. And you're thinking, why would I sit in here during a storm? That's a weird thing to do. I'm a weird guy. But I pretend like I'm storm chasing, you know? You ever see that movie Twister? Anyway, you kind of get the vibe, you know? Hey, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you guys that watch all these videos, and next one could be a garage video. But we're gonna get on this front axle real soon. And I also wanna get some fenders on here and a steering wheel. So the next time I'm sitting in here, I can do this, you know? Anyway, please like, comment, subscribe, share, all them things. We'll catch you on the next one. Later.